Night had fallen deep. A sharp November wind swept the streets. The first flakes of snow drifted onto roofs and paving stones, and onto the dark, newly heaped earth of the grave that covered the Polish woman. In the Hellwig parlor, the supper table stood prepared. Massive silver cutlery gleamed beside each plate. The white damask cloth shone like satin and displayed its stately pattern. The lamp burned on a small, round sofa table. Behind it sat Mrs. Hellwig, knitting a long woolen stocking. She was a tall, broad-shouldered woman in her early 40s. Perhaps that face had once been handsome. The profile possessed a severe regularity that many would call beauty. Yet true charm it had never known. However bright her eyes, however pure her complexion, there was no warmth of soul upon those features. How else could a face have turned so utterly to stone? After a youth filled with sensation and giving, no gaze should be so cold as the gray one beneath that smooth brow. A dark parting lay strict and straight across her forehead. The rest of the hair was hidden beneath a spotless muslin cap. A black dress of studied plainness, with tight sleeves and narrow white cuffs, gave her the air of a Puritan matron. From time to time the side door opened, and the wrinkled face of the old cook peered in. "Not yet, Friederike," said Mrs. Hellwig each time, in her level tone, without looking up, but the needles clicked faster, and a hard line deepened around her mouth. The servant knew that Madame was impatient and could not resist teasing. "Dear Lord, wherever does the master stay? The roast will be spoiled, and how am I to finish tonight?" She earned a sharp rebuke. For Mrs. Hellwig suffered no free opinions, but withdrew content, having seen the new furrow between her mistress's brows. At last the front door opened. The deep peal of the bell rang through the hall. "Oh, what a pretty tinkle that is!" cried a clear child's voice outside. Mrs. Hellwig set her knitting in its basket and rose. Surprise replaced impatience. She looked intently toward the door. Someone was scraping his boots again and again on the mat. That was her husband. In a moment he entered, walking somewhat unsteadily, and in his arms he carried a little girl of perhaps 4 years. "I have brought you something home, Brigitchen," he began pleadingly, but his eyes met hers, and he fell silent. "Well?" she asked without moving. "I have brought you a poor child." "To whom does it belong?" she broke in coldly. "To the unfortunate Pole whose young wife met so dreadful a death. Dear Brigitchen, take the little one kindly in." "For this night only, I presume?" "No, I gave the man my solemn word that the child should grow up in my house." He spoke quickly and firmly. The thing must be said. Her pale face flushed. A cutting expression crossed her lips. She stepped forward and tapped her forehead with mocking finger. "I fear, Hellwig, your wits are astray," she said in that icy calm which wounded more than anger. "To me, a request like this? I, who strive to make my house a temple of the Lord, shall harbor stage folks' offspring? That requires more than folly. It borders on sin." Hellwig recoiled. A flash lit his usually gentle eyes. "You are grievously mistaken, Brigitte," she continued. "I will not receive this child of sin, the child of a lost woman whom heaven's judgment has overtaken." "So that is your belief?" he cried. "Then tell me, of what sin was your brother guilty when a careless huntsman shot him dead? He, too, was following his pleasure. The poor woman died in the fulfillment of duty." The blood left her cheeks. She grew white as chalk, staring at the man who suddenly showed a strength she had never imagined in him. Meanwhile, the little girl, whom Hellwig had set upon the floor, pulled down her rosy hood, and a head of chestnut curls broke free. Her mantle slipped after it. How hardened must a heart be not to open its arms at such a sight? The rounded shoulders glowed through the pale blue woolen frock, its ribbons and hem embroidered with delicate stitches. Perhaps the last work of the hands now folded in death. Yet precisely that dainty dress, the easy fall of those curls, the grace of every movement, roused Mrs. Hellwig's disgust. "Not 2 hours could I endure this imp of disorder," she said suddenly, ignoring her husband's rebuke. "That forward little thing with its wild hair and bared throat is unfit for our serious, godly household. To keep it here would fling our doors wide to frivolity and shame. Hellwig, you will see that the child is taken back where it belongs." She opened the kitchen door. "Friederike, put on the child's things again," she ordered, pointing to hood and cloak. "You will go back this instant," thundered Hellwig. The astonished maid vanished. "You drive me to extremity with your hardness, Brigitte," he cried. "Lay the blame on yourself when I speak what I have long kept silent. Whose house is this temple you boast of?" "Mine. Brigitte, you came here a poor orphan that you have forgotten. The more you built your temple, the more you preached love and humility, the prouder and crueler you became. This is my house. The bread we eat I pay for. And I tell you plainly, the child stays. If your heart is too narrow to feel motherly pity, then at least as my wife, you shall give the orphan a woman's protection. If you wish to keep your standing before our people, make the arrangements now. Otherwise, I shall." Not a word passed her white lips. Any other woman might have sought refuge in tears, but those cold eyes seemed never to have known them. Her silence, that icy armor gathering round her whole figure, was terrifying. She took a bunch of keys and left the room. With a deep sigh, Hellwig took the little girl by the hand and walked up and down. He had fought a fearful battle to win this poor creature a home, and he knew it well. His wife would never forgive him.